spent $100,000 to work with 8 hours with Alex Hormozi. And in this video, I'm gonna walk you through what I learned and some big takeaways, things that I learned, the things that I noticed, witnessed out there for myself, and kind of the journey of how this all came into place.
I think if you nail this strategy, you open up the whole US.
I'm gonna rewind back to the beginning of this year. Every single year on New Year's Eve, my company and I get together and we do vision boards. On my vision board this year was a picture of Alex and holding his book. And my goal this year was to go meet with Alex Hormozi, spend some time with him, and really, really learn from one of the best in the space. So I love marketing, and so I wanted to learn from one of the best. I shouldn't even say one of the best. At this point in his career, looking back over time, as far as the book launch, like he's by far the best marketer to ever existed. So I spent $100,000 to go spend with him, and most people said that I'm just crazy. But every time that I've done this, like I said, I have 5 or 10x within the first month, and I knew that this for Pest Badger is what we needed to do. I brought my CFO out to acquisitions.com this spring, and we went through the scaling workshop. If you haven't been in the scaling workshop, it's pretty cool. They basically go through a workbook, and it's over 2 days, and it just basically gives you what your company, the value of your company it is today. And most people were surprised that the company wasn't worth a whole lot. We went through things that can improve the business and also things that were detracting from the business and where we need to focus on for Pest Badger. So going through this was really cool with my CFO. He got to see what I like to do, what I'm working on, and people that I like to hang out with. And he just got to really to see it from a different perspective, which is cool. So things that we worked on through the book, things like value adders, like I said, is EBITDA improvements, lifetime value to CAC ratios. And then we look at some value detractors, which are like key man risk. Does your company rely on one person too much? And we found out that pretty much every business really relies on one or two people a lot. So we have to, if one big person went away from our executive team, we could have some key man risk there. Single customer risk, like is the company built around 3 or 4 specific customers? So if half the revenue comes from one customer, that could be a key customer risk. And in pest control, we're mostly residential, so we don't really have that. Ours is more, smaller clients, right? Or I should say many clients at a smaller revenue than like half of our revenue coming from 1 or 2 clients. So single channel risk would be like things like, do you only rely on Google? Do you only rely on door to door? Do you only rely on referrals? Like that could be a single channel risk. Like if Google were to shut down, YouTube ads were to or Google ads were to shut down, what would happen to your company? So we did that. And went through market risk. Is your potential market capped? Is your potential niche capped? And so we went through all this stuff. And at the end of the 2-day conference, we realized that Pest Badger was actually in a really good spot. And obviously there's always room to improve. But it was just cool to like really deep dive into LTV to CAC ratios, seeing where we can improve there. And I really, like I said, I love the marketing side. The last day, they came up to me and they handed me an envelope and said, "Hey, this is from Alex." And so they're like, just read it when you have time, when you get back to the hotel. So I get back to the hotel, I read the personal letter from Alex, and there was like, I think 10 of us, something around like that. That all got the same letter. And it's basically to any company out there that's doing $1 million in EBITDA plus. EBITDA is just fancy name for profit. So $1 million in profit per year. And so you read the letter and it's like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's straight from Alex, signed. It's cool. And so then there's just, like a video that you can watch as a VSL sales letter, just explaining what level 1, 2, and level 3 and portfolio company are all about. And so level 2 is like you go out there and do a strategy session with each one of his team members, as far as marketing, sales, finance, operations. And you spend time with his team. Level 3 is you get to go spend 8 hours with Alex, really dive into the business and set the vision of the company, and then what are 1 or 2 really big levers that we can pull. That he can help us pull to really move the needle forward. And so, after reading the VSL, after reading, the letter, I thought it was really cool. And I sent it to my CFO. And I didn't know what he would say, actually. I was like, he's CFO. I'd say he's very frugal, but that's how CFOs are supposed to be. We sat down with their sales team, and I was like on the fence about it. And he actually looked at me and said, "No, this is a good decision. This is what we need to do." And I thought it was really cool of him to do that. He knew this to be a good idea. He loved what Alex's team was doing, and he knew he could bring us to the next level. So this is where we decided to go do level 3. So we go back home, and then I fly back out there a few months later, and I get to spend, this is where I get to spend 8 hours with Alex side by side. And the level of professionalism from Alex and his team is absolutely next level. And every time that I hang out with Alex Hormozi, Patrick Bet-David, someone of this caliber, the level of expectation that they set with their team is, again, it's over the moon. So the way they practice saying hello is practiced 1,000 times. They knew, obviously, my name. Every single one of his team members knew my name personally. They knew my company's name. They knew my YouTube channel. They knew my podcast, the way they greeted you, the way they handed you the books. It was just really neat. So we all pile in, we show up and we get down, sit down with Alex. There's 10 of us in the room. And so you get to walk through and watch him analyze each business. And he had, I'd say, 1 to 2 pages of notes for each company that he obviously took personally, which is cool. They gave us each a remarkable to take notes. As we're there, we get to take notes on everyone else. And then, of course, ourselves. But by the time they're talking to you, you don't really have time to take notes, which is cool because they had 2 or 3 people just taking notes themselves for you. So when it got to you, they took all your notes, all the high-level things that they want you to take and implement. So this session was the first session of level 3. So we got level 3 and level 2. So level 3 is just, set the vision, few key levers, big levers that the business can pull to really move the needle forward. And then level 2, which we'll go back on in a few months, is like sit down strategy sessions with each one of the team members. Again, like I said, you have sales, you have finance, you have marketing, and operations, I believe is what they were. And so I thought that was really cool. But so that's in a few months, and I'll make another video at the end of that just to tell you, give you guys an update. So this video, I'm just talking about this level 3 from here on forward. So level 3 was really cool. We got to sit down with Alex, and one of the first things he said is like, "I don't care if we're here till midnight."
Also, the number one question or concern that people have coming in is, will there be time to get my question answered? And it's also the least relevant because I will stay until we're done.
He's like, but usually what happens by the time 5 or 6 o'clock rolls around, your eyes are rolling back your head because there's just so much information. And that was true. So I'm going to give you some of the key levers that he told other companies to do, and then I'll tell you a couple of key levers that he wanted us to do to really push the needle forward. I took a lot of notes myself, and so I'm just kind of scrolling through the notes of some key things that I wanted to make sure that I touch on during this video. He goes through each business. You get like 20 to 30 minutes of talking about your business specifically, if you have any questions. And so the majority of the companies that were out there were actually service-based companies, and they said that typically it's not like this. Typically it's just a bunch of companies that are all just from different sides of the world. Yeah, but most of these were all landscaping company, cleaning companies, janitorial companies, solar companies. There was one online business, and then, so there was another really cool company that did plaques for like Walmart chains. So like plaques that are hanging on the wall for like employee of the month. They did all those, and they had like a couple thousand clients. Hobby Lobby, I think, was one of them. Big chains like that. So anyway, there was only one other company that did like online sales. She was really cool. But it was really cool to watch him go through and dissect every single company. So there was a landscaping company. I won't mention her name, but she was super awesome. Ended up having mutual friends there. But they were between 5 and 7 million revenue. And they were already at the top of their market in pricing. But one of the things I noticed about Alex, if you guys watch a lot of Alex's stuff, is like he is not afraid to push the revenue, right? He's not afraid to raise prices by any means. So he was literally after seeing her prices, which they were top of her market, he was still having her almost double their prices, and people were still going to buy. Like they had a whole strategy for it. It was really cool. Another one was a janitorial service. They were pretty decent sized janitorial service, but they were in part of a niche too. Part of their company was newer, and they're niching down into medical cleaning. So like cleaning like hospitals. So what he wanted him to do is, basically convert his entire company into medical sales, triple, quadruple all of his pricing, and go hire pharmaceutical sales reps. So they're obviously already know the industry. They already have contacts there at those places. So going out and finding some pharmaceutical sales reps to go sell his janitorial services and change his name and change his brand. It was really, really cool, fascinating. Again, he always says that the riches are in the niches, which is so true. And he kind of makes a funny thing. He says like, if you talk about like different services or service offerings or different niches, he's like, I'll literally niche slap you, which is kind of funny. With that being said, what you see on social media is pretty much who he is. He's down to earth. He's super cool. He's funny. Obviously, he's super intelligent. Just a really cool guy to hang out with. He goes through all 10 companies just like that, and then he gets to us. And it was just cool to hear him like just say like, hey, you guys are doing a great job. He really sees what we're doing as really awesome with a few tweaks. And he said that you can literally take this thing nationwide, and he knows that we can do it. So for us was like, we kind of run the Chick-fil-A model. And he said, we just need to double down on content. On the ad side, he said, we're really good at making content, really good at the ad side. And so what he told us to do was just to bring in a few of our door-to-door reps and start really building out the inside sales team, which has always been, I'll be honest, like a leak. Even though they do, should say, millions in revenue in the office, we could literally 5-10x that as well. Bringing in some good guys from our door-to-door team, bringing them in the office, double, triple ad spend, and quadrupling my time and our team's time on content and ad content. So that's one big lever that we can pull that will solve a lot of problems for us. Contract values would be higher in the office. Close rate would be higher in the office when we're knocking doors. We're not going to stop knocking doors, but this is just one of the strategies that he says that we could pull that will really move the needle. We talked a lot about content too with us because we do a lot of content. And then so I asked him, should I stop doing content? And he's like, well, no, you can't stop doing content. You got this channel, you're doing really well. But he's like, basically what people do with the sales funnel these days, like, hey, they're going to go to your website. They're going to see, like, okay, cool. They look like a reputable business. And then they're going to go check out your socials. Like, cool, these guys have a heartbeat. They have a pulse. Then they go back and they'll purchase. So that was just interesting to see. Like, I was questioning myself for a long time, like put a lot of time into content on the Pest Badger side, but it doesn't come with like a lot of return, right? Like tangible things that you see like as sales, right? You get millions and millions and tens of millions on views, but it's not like I'm selling products to people like pest control products and things like that. So to get customers through that, very slim to none. Yes, you can do some targeted ads there. I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm just saying as far as the videos go, going viral, like the views are cool, but it just doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, what we need is customers. And so as we scale this thing out and we go nationwide with this thing, obviously the content's going to help the brand. So I'll put more time and effort into content strategy for Pest Badger on the marketing side, as far as ad side, and then still do some content for strategy for growing the company. So that's where some of our biggest focus is going to be. And I always thought that I have a really good work ethic, and it still feels like he finds more time than I do. I mentioned to him earlier that I really wanted to go check out his gym. And he's like, okay, just remind me later. So I talked to one of the guys, hey, we never got to check out the gym. He's like, hey, you need to go ask him, actually. He really likes you. Thought that was kind of cool. So I went up, asked Alex, like, hey, we go check out your gym. He said, sure. So we went down, got in the elevator, go in the elevator. They're on our way down. I asked him a question because it's just kind of him and I. And I was like, hey, did you always know that you'd be famous? And he literally laughed. And he said, no, but I always knew that I would try hard. And so that kind of sits with me, like going back to like his work ethic is, he's obviously really smart and he gets to see, I should say, thousands of businesses at this point, the inside of them, how they work, and what's working really good in one, like use it to others. I think that's really cool. All right, so now we're downstairs. We go through the gym. The first room is just all upper body. The second room, the back room, is all lower body. But just like anything else that he does, it has to be almost perfect. Yes, he came from owning gyms. He's got a sweet gym. He then owned Gym Launch. But like if one person, like if he came in the gym and one person left a weight out, no one was allowed to use the gym. That level of detail is like literally in everything that he does. So if he walks downstairs and there's one thing that's out of place, no one's allowed to use the gym. He was just sick of going down there and it not being nice, neat, and order. And you just see that's how he operates his entire business and his entire life. Like has to be perfect. So he said that one person left one out. He brought it to the team, and now like if the team goes down and they notice something's out of place, they're gonna make sure to put it back so they can all keep using the gym. I just say that because like level of detail that he has like is literally in everything that he does, from the gym to the way he talks to you, the way that he trains his team, was really cool. Another question that we asked him is what was like the most surprising thing that happened with the book launch, and he said that nothing broke. That this was planned over 2 years. That all those books, $100 million leads, $100 million offers, and then money models were all actually wrote at the same time, which I did not know. It was one giant book, and he decided that this was the sequence he was going to sell them in. And so when they named the book $100 million leads, $100 million offers, is because the goal was 2 years prior to make $100 million in a day, which he made $105 million. He said he could have probably made $200 million, but promised that he would turn it off at midnight or whatever it was that night. So he said the biggest shocker was that nothing broke. Every single one of his employees, no matter which part of the business you were in, answering phones. They took like thousands and thousands of phone calls. They had a backup call center with hundreds of employees. They had backup generators, or generators, backup generators. They had it very, very well planned. And so one of the questions that I asked was like, what was the craziest thing that happened? He's like, nothing broke. He's like, it was actually kind of boring. Another thing that I noticed about Alex, that he hires the best of the best. I found that just from me like talking to the team, really getting to know them on a more of a personal level, I think almost the majority of them opened or had a business at some point that did really well and either exited or they were making like $250,000, were really good at it, made connections with Alex, and Alex was like, hey, you're really good at this thing. Like, how about I pay you $300,000 to come work here? Not, I'm just making up numbers. They're obviously all paid really, really well. So we got to talk a lot about sales, which was really cool. Someone asked him a question like, what are your sales? What is the commission on your sales guys? And he's like, oh, how about you guys take a guess? And so everyone kind of went around the room. It's 5, 10, 15, 50%. And he's like, 0%. He's like, my guys don't get so many leads because they're so fucking good. They get so many quality leads because I'm so fucking good. And everyone kind of laughed. And I said, you're a fucking savage. Kind of funny. But then I said, but I also know that you're probably paying top dollar for your sales guys. He's like, of course, some of my sales guys are top paid people in the industry. So they're getting compensated, just not by commissions, which I thought was pretty cool. So this is how we're going to 10x Pest Badger after sitting down with Alex Hormozi. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to 10x our ad spend. We're going to 10x our ad creative. We're going to add an additional channel, so add a second channel. We're currently been doing a lot of Google ads, LSA, search. We've been doing a little bit of Meta, but we're going to double down on Meta. Really target and retarget on Meta. Really excited about this one. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our top 10 to 15 door-to-door reps into the call center. And these guys are savages. They're used to knocking on doors, overcoming objections consistently. We've been testing this for the past few weeks since we got back. We've been closing at over 80%. They've been crushing it. It's super easy for them. They get to hang out at home, out in the doors. A lot of them have been with us for quite a few years, and they've earned this spot. We're really excited about this. We're going to double contract values. And so again, going back to what I was just saying about closing at 80%, we know we still have room to move. We doubled our contract values already, and we're still closing that high. Again, these guys are just really good at sales. It's extremely easy for them. They're out there usually hunting for sales, and now these are coming to us. Again, with issues, we're just solving their issues. It's super easy. They're doing really good. Really excited about this. We're going to have two tiers of reps. We'll have an inbound team that I just talked about. Then we're going to have an additional team of outbound for the Facebook, Google Ads, just follow-ups like that. Also, a lot of leads come from the doors that sometimes get missed, even though there's software involved. Make sure that we're calling those guys back too. From there, we're going to really push prepays this year. We've always pushed prepays in the past, but we're going to push it even more. Give the customers an additional extra discount for prepaying for the year, so not chasing money. And that also moves up our customer acquisition costs so we can always get new clients. So that's basically step number one of what we're going to do with Pest Badger going forward. Obviously, we'll still have our door-to-door teams, but this is the call center side that can really move the needle forward. Also, we're gonna look for 20x on our ad spend. So for every dollar that we spend, we get $20 back. So if we spend $100,000, our goal is to get $2 million back. We know we can do this. We've already proved it out the last month or so since I've been back, and extremely excited for this one. We're gonna be opening up 4 or 5 offices at a time going forward. Again, if we wanna hit the 100 million, this is what we gotta do. We're gonna open up 4 or 5 offices for the next couple of years. Obviously, as we scale and get bigger, we'll be able to open up 10, 15, 20 offices per year. So excited about this. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to focus more on the owner operator playbook. Because most people, they want the profit. Most people want this part of the sale, right? They don't want any of the risk and they don't want any of the control. So kind of what it looks like is the profit here. There is a sale of the company here. So they're gonna have a little bit of equity, right? They'll have a percentage here. They won't have any control. We'll help them build all this stuff out. And then they also don't want any of the risk. So we're gonna come in, we're gonna take a general manager, we're gonna call him the owner, put his plaque on the wall, just like Chick-fil-A does. It's not really the owner, but he acts like an owner because his focus is on profit and his profit share. And when we go sell this thing, he will have part of his profit share. This will be over like a 4 or 5 year term that he gets to gain equity. So was the 100K worth it? Hands down, would do it again. Again, proximity is power. You can pay $130,000 to go sit with Alex for a day and his team for a day. Like, how much is that worth? I know that $130,000 over the next few years will make me millions and millions of dollars. Again, these people can solve 1 or 2 really big problems for you. Every time I go to an event, that's my goal, is to find one golden nugget. And he gave me one golden nugget that will solve all 3 of my problems. He didn't straight up give me the answers to all of them, but he gave me a clear vision of what I need to do that I can go implement. We're doing it again in 2026. We're gonna spend 130K again. Proximity is power. I'm gonna spend as much time with them as I can. I'm gonna take this thing nationwide, and that's the goal. And subscribe, give us a follow. I hope you guys found this valuable. See you in the next video.